I wonder how many of you, as you were going through school, and all of a sudden came a new course, and it was what they called the new math. Aha, you remember it, don't you? I think mom and dad, the parents, hated that more than the kids because it was something totally new and it wasn't that easy to understand. But it was new and it was something different. And when you come to Jesus, Jesus came along and he's something new. He's something different. And when he was among us, you knew that there was something special about him. And he brought a new message when he came, and he preached it. So Jesus is that person who came and made things new, that he was here, and he knew that we needed to hear the good news wherever we were. So the new math is one thing, and the way Jesus looks at things, it's different. When he came, he had a new look at the world. He had a new look at us. And he went and he preached that he had a message for us and that it was going to improve. And the message was very particular to him, that Jesus, for some reason, saw things that we don't see. They were new. They were different. And when he came, that light that he talked about, all of a sudden, it became seeable. And he had a new message. And Jesus was very different from all of those who came before him. So new math in school and a new message, a new way of looking at things. Jesus just doesn't see the ordinary thing we see every day. Jesus sees something that maybe we have overlooked, that we hadn't seen before. And when he comes, he preaches this new message, and all of a sudden, things become clearer. That things all of a sudden are understandable. And make no mistake about it, when he looks at us, he sees something new. Have you ever wondered, when Jesus is looking at you, what does he see? What is there about us that he can see when he looks at us? And he loves you, and he loves you to be around him. And he sees the goodness that's inside of us. And today, the gospel talks about light. You are supposed to be light for other people. You come and you light up the world. You have good news. Do you see yourself as a person who is bringing light to all those people you see? It's what Jesus wants us to become as his disciple, that he wants them to see that light of yours. And in the world, Jesus sees a lot of things that we don't see. They're hidden from us. And that's why you come together here and you hear the word. You hear the gospel. It's a new gospel every week. And are you getting something new every week when you hear the gospel? Is he all of a sudden making something clear that you can sit there and say, I didn't think of it that way. I think I got it. I think I have something to take with me when I leave this church. And I can share it with other people, that their day is better, that you lighten it up, that you've been sent by him. So Jesus sees what's inside of us. And be curious. When he sees you or he sees me, what is he thinking? What does he see? When you see members of your family, when you see your friends, what do you see? Do you see the goodness that Jesus sees? So, the new math, and Jesus comes, and he sees things in a very different light. So I would recommend every time you come here on the weekend, pay attention that there is something in the Gospels. I know when I went to theology class, that was rather clear. Every time you open the book and you hear the words, there is something there just for you. That Jesus put something there for you to hear and to take away with you. And then you are to listen and take it with you wherever you go. So it's something that Jesus has especially for you, to make you a better person, a new person, something to share with other people. So a quick math. Take out your pen and pencil, and let's see how well you're going to do in a math course, the new math, all right? 5 and 2 equals what? 7 times 7 equals how much? 1 cup is made up of how many tablespoons? I don't have a clue. I'll tell you. I see a lot of people sitting here who really do a good job of making cookies. You do a good job of preparing that recipe. So you've got it. 1 nickel and 1 dime add to how much money? Pretty simple, straightforward math, right? Well, conventional math, computing numerical values, is one thing. Now let's shift what we're supposed to be doing here. You just heard the word. Did you get something different today? Did you hear the special thing that he put there just for you? It's there. And hopefully you said, oh, new math. I know what that is. Jesus always has something new. The gospel, we might call gospel math. And it's there. So what is new about Jesus and new math and his message? How do we calculate the worth of our lives? We're in a different area now, aren't we? How do you calculate how worthy you are in front of God? Worth of our lives in the light of Jesus' life and his teachings. How well are you reflecting his teachings when you just heard them in the gospel? Our deacon did a wonderful job. Good for you. Right? It's for us now to get it. In the gospel math, for example, 5 plus 2 can go up to 5,000. Does that ring a bell in the Gospels? 2 to 5,000. 2 fish, 2 loaves, barley bread, that are then blessed. And when they're blessed, they're broken, they're shared. And when that bread is broken with him and shared among the community gathered in his name, something new just happened. In his math in the gospel, it multiplied from 2 fish and a little bit of bread, and there was at least 5,000 people there. Did you get it? Did you hear the message of breaking bread with him? Do you feel nourished when you leave here? Did you learn something as they sat down and they broke bread together? 7 times 7 is a measure of limitless forgiveness. Does that sound familiar? Unfailing reconciliation, always seeking out the lost, finding a place for the rejected, healing the hurt and the wounded, welcoming back the prodigal son. And we always, sometimes, when I was growing up, you fit that picture. And Jesus had something to say about especially the Father in that particular passage. 1 cup of water given to someone out of kindness equals the prophet's reward, the exact representation of the love of God in Christ. And a single nickel and dime, when given out of the same love and sacrifice as the poor widow when she gave her pennies to God, gives her mite to God, equals eternity in the kingdom of the Father. So, you're beginning to see what's going on here every week that you come. He has something special in that gospel for you that's a little bit different than the person sitting next to you. You're a changed person. But you know that blessing? And then giving that bread and sharing it with the Eucharistic community, it is no longer an ordinary community. It is very different what happens to this community when it breaks bread together. You become a new reality, and all of a sudden, it's not just you sitting there with your family or friends. You become a very special person in the eyes of God. You take a sacrament. You become what you eat, the body and blood of Christ. There's a lot of things going on here if we're paying attention. And every time you come here and you break bread with him, something changes about you. And he says, take it with you, share it, bring people together into this community. Go out and call back the people that ought to be here on the weekends. What a wonderful thing they're missing. Get them in touch with something very special, something very different. So Christ comes to change the bottom line, the equation, the friends, the perspectives that are in our lives, the standards by which we live our lives, the ways we deal with one another, the factors that go into the decision we make, the things we value and seek for ourselves. In Christ, the watered-down wine of the first miracle that Jesus did, of rationalized the self-centeredness, is replaced with the new wine, the compassion, gratitude for the life of God has given us a new wine, honor and respect for every human being as a child of God. The new wine of justice, mercy, peace of God. And who is the host of that first miracle, that wedding, where things were changed? And he comes, and every time you take your seat here in the offertory, what do? You bring your gift and lay it on the altar. Do you do that every week? Do you bring that gift and offer it that Jesus can use that this week through you to get his message to other people? You're a changed person. When you eat that bread and drink that wine, you become a miracle. You and Jesus are one. And you go out together to change.